going on, everybody? You are live with Osiris. Welcome to the Author's Lounge. The world is filled with storytellers, and I, along with my guests, are here today in the Author's Lounge to help educate and inspire the young generation of writers and creators. Now, my guests are professionals in publishing, writers from a wide range of formats, and successful entertainers. They will provide beneficial advice on what to do and what not to do on your path to success. So, without further ado, I'll present to you our next guest. Let's go.
Charles! Charles!
P.T. Barnum, at your service. I am putting together a show, and I need a star.
You want people to laugh at me?
Well, they're laughing anyway, kid, so might as well get paid. I see a soldier, no, a general, riding across the stage with a sword and a gun and the most beautiful uniform ever made. People will come from all over the world, and when they see him, they won't laugh. They'll salute.
I have to say that there are many opportunities that we are fortunate enough to have when you follow through your own dreams and in the pursuit of what you're trying to achieve or what you are achieving. You meet wonderful people from all across the world, and that has been my case. So fortunate enough to be able to be in a position where I get to talk with this next guest. And this guest, he has experience doing this, so I'm not going to bore him with some of like recycled questions or anything. It's going to be fresh. It's going to be fun, and we're going to hop right into it. So our next guest, he is an actor, he is a producer, and he is a motivational speaker, along with many other titles that we will talk about during this show. One of his biggest highlights came from his big break in the show. I'm sorry, in the movie, the feature film, The Greatest Showman, and that is something that I'm sure he gets asked about a lot. So I'll just talk about that one briefly, but I'm really more interested in about like, how you got to this point and how you navigate around the industry, noticeable with obviously being in a position to where things may not be the same for you as it is for others. So without further ado, I present to you the wonderful Mr. Sam Humphrey. Thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you. I mean, it's an absolute honor and privilege to be here speaking with you. Every time someone asks me to be a guest on their podcast, it's such a privilege that they would want to speak to me and hear all about my journey and where I've come from and where I'm going. So, yeah, thank you.
No, thank you. Now, are you on a literal? No, well, so you're not on the other side of the world right now. Are you? Where are you residing? Are you in Cali? Or,
Yeah, so right now I'm based and located in Los Angeles.
okay, okay. Is it hot over there right now? Like in the
At
90s?
the current moment, it is. It's
Yeah.
pretty humid. Dry heat.
Okay, so I used to stay in Southern California for about 6.5 years. I was out in the desert though, the Mojave Desert, about an hour away from downtown Los Angeles, and I'm in Washington State now, like about 40 minutes from Seattle. So it's thankfully it's not too hot right now, but there's aspects about California I miss, man.
Maybe you have to come back one day.
Oh yeah, no, I'll be back. It looks like the way that like things are aligning itself is looking like it's inevitable for me to return back at some point to do something in regards to the entertainment business or the arts, something in that for sure.
Awesome. Well, when you get back, I'm pretty confident I'll still be here. So we'll have
Yeah.
to connect in person.
No. Oh yeah. No, we will. We'll definitely make that connection. Speaking of connections, the person who connected us, Ferdinand, he is all the way in South Africa, and
I
so
know.
yeah, so that's part of the like the great things about connections is you never know. Somebody who lives in South Africa connected me with a person who lives a couple of states south of where I'm currently located. It's wonderful how those connections work out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things I gotta ask you before I hop into the whole Greatest Showman and you with Hugh Jackman and that entire experience. I gotta ask you. I watched one of your specials on YouTube, and you
Mm,
had pretty much talked about how how things were for you and growing up, and how you navigated through the entertainment industry. I don't like to call things a disability. I have a young
mm,
son. I have three. Abel Sebastian no, but Abel in specifics, he has a noticeable disability where he has pachyonychia congenita, some sort of skin disease, and his nails
wow.
are like really thick, and he has bumps all over his body. And he's also autistic, so
Hmm.
there's that piece. And so we just encourage him every day, like to just keep living your life, be who you are. But for you, how has that been for you, being in the entertainment business, navigating it with a disability, if that's what we're going to call
Mm,
it? Or
yeah.
superpower, if I like to think of it. How has that been for you?
Well, I mean, first off, going to like the word like disability, I'm along the same line of thinking as you. I don't necessarily like to call them disabilities.
Right.
And obviously culture and society hasn't known what to call us and how to frame us, and so they need a label on it. And I don't think the word disability is a bad word per se, but I do think it comes with a negative stereotype and negative connotation. So for me, I think the word that I've started recently using is diffability, which instead of an S is with an F. So it's
Hmm.
a different ability. We
Yep.
all have, as human beings, made in the image of God, because I'm a Christian, we all have different abilities. Some
Hmm.
have abilities that you have and I have. Some have different abilities. Some are in wheelchairs, some are short, some are tall, some have intellectual, intellectual abilities, some have others. So I think when it's all about embracing the abilities that we do have, and rather than calling out the abilities that we don't have. And I think that's part of the movement in the entertainment industry, especially now and within the last like 5 to 10 years.
Hmm.
Um, Disability, for lack of a better term, is coming more to the forefront of the entertainment industry. Actually, last night I was just at the Disability Film Challenge Awards, which is a contest that a challenge that is done every single year, and this is the 12th year, where people from all around the world put together films with teams of people that have different types of abilities,
Hmm.
wheelchairs, autism, Down syndrome, little people, all types of abilities. And we
Hmm.
make films that show what we can do and to show that we are a part of
Hmm.
culture and society. Because with Hollywood is the eyes and ears of the world and of culture and society. And Hollywood doesn't portray the proper representation of what true society and culture is made up of. And so
Hmm.
without that true representation, there's a huge gap in the market. And so
Hmm.
as a person with a disability, I
Yeah.
think it's very important to make that representation known to the wider world, because a lot of people don't even know what encompasses having someone who's different. Like my family, that they grew up being impacted by like all my different needs and things that would go along with me being short statured. So they grew up with it being completely normalized.
Hmm.
But people that don't have someone like that in their life or
Yeah.
in their sphere,
Hmm.
they have no idea how to interact. They have no idea how to treat them. They have no idea even how to talk to them.
Hmm.
So that's why someone with a disability being in the entertainment industry, it's empowering to be
Hmm.
someone who's different in the entertainment industry. That
For
was a
sure.
long-winded answer, but I hope that kind of.
No, no, no.
I'm very passionate about this, as you can tell.
No, I love it too, and what you're saying hits home so much so because of my son, right? And because of what my wife and I, what we try to instill into our children, specifically into Abel. we don't want him to feel like he's different, even though
mm,
he physically looks different. You can look at him and tell he looks nothing like the other students in terms of his appearance with his fingernails and his toes, and there's just the patches of things that's on his tongue, and it's just different.
mm,
And making him feel that he's still worth something, that you still have something to offer the world, that never mind the idea that society puts you into this category just based on what you look like. That could be
mm,
the same for a minority, that because what is portrayed, this is what it must be, and that's just not the case. I really love what you were talking about with that, and what that film award show represents, and
mm.
what the art form behind it. Because you're absolutely correct, Sam, on a note, and you're embedded into it. I'm more of an outsider for now, more of an outsider, but of seeing that Hollywood doesn't necessarily portray what your world looks like, my son world looks like, or even my own world looks like, accurately, or maybe it's all for for
A
whatever their
checklist.
vision is, a checklist. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
let's do this. So there you go, you got something next. But I love the idea that those who actually are going through it, and then those who actually have it, are the ones behind it. So
Mm,
speaking of the arts, I do want to touch real quick on your movie role, right? The one where you were in The Greatest Showman, and I've met a lot of people, a lot of different actors, and once they get that one big break, they're able to their career just takes a completely different turn. But for you, how was that entire process for you? Did you get the opportunity to be in a movie because you knew somebody that knew somebody, or did you get it the old fashioned way of auditioning and callbacks? How did that work out for you?
Yeah, so it was definitely more of a traditional pathway into it. For
Hmm.
me, I had an agent, and it's one of my favorite stories to tell actually. I had an agent. I'd signed up to an agent in the UK who represented unique people, really tall and really short people.
Hmm.
Um, I went about my life, for 2 years, completely forgot that I had this agent because, it's not very often that something comes along, especially when back in those days, you
Hmm.
generally had to be in the US and in the center of the entertainment capital.
Hmm.
Um, Whereas nowadays, it's very common for you to be wherever in the world, and self tapes are very regular. Self tapes are all the rage today. Even though a lot of people don't necessarily like self tapes, I think it opens up again to the idea that someone who's different is able to submit an audition
Hmm.
without the challenges of needing to be in the room.
Hmm.
Um, so I submitted a self tape from Australia. So basically, my agent out of the blue one day sends me an email and says, "Hey, we have this role for you." At the time, it's called the Greatest Show on Earth. Weird title. I got the email and I was thinking, there's no way a big 20th Century Fox film, one of the biggest film studios in the world, wants someone like
Hmm.
me. So I was already counting myself out. There was the limiting beliefs that I
Hmm.
wasn't wanted or worth it or anything like that.
Hmm.
I was gonna delete the email, and that's crazy. If I one moment, one click, my life would have been totally different.
Yeah.
Um, but as an actor, something inside myself, whether it was intuition, whether it was God, I don't know. Looking back now, I believe it was God. I
Hmm.
have faith and everything, and so
Uh-huh.
I said to myself, like, I'm an actor. I have to go for this, whether or not it's fake, a hoax, or whatever. Which now I'm like, that's a stupid thought that I had in my head because it came from my agent that I was
Hmm.
signed with. So why would
Yeah.
it be a hoax? Makes no sense. So I did
Right.
it. I had 48 hours to submit a self tape. I
Hmm.
called up my best friend and we shot it. I sent it in, and then about a few days, a week went by. I got I got shortlisted. So then I did a Skype call with the director. Director loved it. And then they sent it up to all the way up to the studio because it goes through a whole bunch of layers. There's like
Hmm.
5 layers between casting and like when you get cast. Goes to casting, goes to producers, goes to the executives, goes to the studio head. When everyone says yes, then casting comes back to you. So I made it all through those
Hmm.
levels, and casting out one day I get an email saying, "Congratulations, Samuel Humphrey has been cast in the role of Tom Thumb in The Greatest
Hmm.
Showman, no, on The Greatest Show on Earth." And my head was, I was
Yeah,
totally like out of my mind. I didn't even know what to think at the time. And this was
I
before
bet.
I even knew Hugh Jackman was on the project.
Yeah. Oh, what was it
So
like when you found out that he was on the project?
I couldn't catch my breath because I mean he's the reason I became an actor. If not for Hugh Jackman,
Hmm.
I don't even know. I mean, maybe I would be dabbling in it, but I don't know if I would be anywhere where I am without like seeing him and him inspiring me to pursue acting. So
Yeah.
that's full circle. So
That's awesome too, and even looking at it from the outside perspective on Hugh Jackman, is just like even watching like interviews and listening to him and I've been a fan of his since the original X-Men came out,
oh
like I
yeah,
think early 2000s. And to me, like if there's a Mount Rushmore of superheroes, right? Superhero actors, I'd put Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. I'd put Robert Downey Jr. for Iron Man. I'd put this one might be a little bit debatable about Christian Bale for Batman, and then Hugh Jackman for Wolverine. And uh, uh, to me, Hugh Jackman. Oh, go ahead.
is it debatable about Christian Bale's Batman or
Because
like
some people might go with goodness, his name just escaped me. Gosh, the one
Ben
who was
Affleck?
oh no,
Or
no, not Ben.
before that? Yeah, no, Ben.
No,
I'm
in the
sorry, no
'90s.
offense to Ben Affleck, but I didn't think he was a great Batman.
I mean, uh, Ben, if you listen to this, Ben Affleck, I
Sorry,
love
Ben,
you as
if
an
you
actor.
see
You were
this.
really
Yeah, love you as an actor, but I just didn't. I didn't like the way that you portrayed Batman or the way they made you portray Batman. It's not you, it's how
that's
they
all right
made
there.
you portray Batman. So,
Yeah. I'm glad he got a second chance. And then and that new Keaton, that was who it was, Keaton.
yeah.
When Keaton came back on, Keaton, he was the one that's arguably could like debate between Keaton or Bale. But where I was getting at with
Personally, I say Christian Bale. I mean, I love
me too.
his raw and gritty Batman. It's just,
He was. It was great. That entire trilogy was something different to be able
mm,
just to experience it in theaters before the coronavirus took over the world. Like that was
mm.
special.
He is I would say Batman is like my favorite superhero
Oh yeah,
because
yeah,
he's
same.
not really a superhero per se. I
Hmm.
mean, if you count like money as a superpower, then great. But other than
Yeah.
that, he's just himself with a bunch
Hmm.
of tools that he uses. So
Yep.
I really love that.
Oh yeah, no, me too. I like him. I have a lot of his comic books right here in our little library in the back. I like him and I like Spider Man a lot. But regarding like Hugh Jackman, right, as Wolverine, like him and how he portrayed in just his personality, and what he represents as a man and as a
Mm,
person is just seemingly a kind person. You had the wonderful opportunity to actually being able to not only work alongside him, but be able, I'm sure, to have great conversations. So what are
mm.
some takeaways that you got from just in conversations with him that you can share?
I think I think he didn't necessarily say this to me, but I think one of the things that I took away from just like being around him is just like you have to be authentically yourself. Like Hugh
Hmm.
Jackman is he's just himself all the time. Like
Hmm.
what you see is what you get, literally. Like he's not putting on a show, other than when he is putting on a show.
Yeah.
But he doesn't try to be anything that he's not. Like he's just a
For sure.
genuine, nice human being.
Mhm.
And when he can't do something or he, feels that it's not something that he should do, he won't do it.
Yeah.
Um, and he has an amazing personality, an amazing heart. And as I say, on the set of Gresham, he was like the dad that we all wish we had. Like
Yeah.
he just took care of everyone. He brought us all together. He made us feel all like good. And I think that's an
That's awesome.
important role of the lead actor and that's an important leadership quality. Is you need to be able
Mhm.
to bond everyone together and make, especially on set, make everyone feel like a family because
Yeah,
you're spending, 7, 8, 9 months of your life putting this thing together. If you hate each other or you can't work together, those 9 months suck.
yeah, it'd be a long shoot. Now, have you had a chance to talk to him
Mm.
since the ending of Greatest Showman?
Yeah, so I've met up with him a few times at like different events,
Hmm.
and yeah, we've chatted. Low key, I have his number and his email, so when I need to reach out to him, I can.
Yep.
And so he's like a mentor to me in
Good.
certain ways.
Yeah.
In terms of like an actual actor, I mean, it's probably we're very different in
Hmm.
actors. I'm more probably a like Peter Dinklage, which makes more sense. We're both short people and whatnot. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to, connect with Peter Dinklage in that sense. But I
Yeah.
think personality wise, philanthropy, and all of that, he's the reason why I got into acting. Like I saw
Yeah.
all of that and Wolverine. Of course I wanted to be
Hmm.
Wolverine at first, and that wasn't
Yeah. I
realistic.
saw the pictures of the claws on the
Thank you.
of you.
Wait, the one on set or the ones when I was
No, it was.
younger?
Oh, I think when you were younger, you were like
Okay.
shirtless, freaking chiseled, had the things like that.
Oh yes, I also had on set. I tried on Hugh Jackman's Wolverine clothes, so they brought them for set. So
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm sitting in a chair and I'm doing this with his actual like Wolverine clothes. It's amazing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
speaking of leadership, right? Yeah. And thank you for sharing all that information. But speaking of leadership, like for you, being a motivational speaker is something that really moves people and
Mm,
in the right manner. It takes a certain voice. To me, this is where height doesn't matter. You
mm,
could be 2 foot nothing and have the presence of somebody that is 8 feet tall. You could be the
mm.
equivalent of a giant when you just have heart and you have a direction and who you're trying to help. And for you, you've been doing so much for so many people on the
Thank you.
regular.
That means a lot.
Oh yeah. No, of course. And it should be acknowledged, yeah, sure you'll be on movie sets and you'll be around people who are stars or who are celebrities, but who is the person individually? And then for you, just in talking to you, I knew it from speaking with Ferdinand and the kind things that he had to say about you. And then just me talking to you just through social media, I can just tell in the conversation that like he's a really good guy.
Mm.
Genuinely a good guy. And speaking
Oh,
to
thank
you
you.
now, it's such a good feeling to hear to see where you are in your life, not just in career, but where you are, and knowing that I have a son who has a different ability,
Mm. There you go.
and there's somebody who I can like directly reference. Hey, my man Sam actually did it. Like I know looking at my son, he'll look at me as a hero, but there's other people who you can truly identify with in that culture that actually you can aspire to be like, if not like me. So I just want to say thank you for having that commanding
No,
voice and
thank you.
for representing something much bigger. So how has that been for you? You're welcome. Being a motivational speaker.
Yeah, I mean, mainly I'm still like trying to get that like fully up and running. Like for me, it's kind of weird. Like I'm great when it comes to like interviews and conversation, like just a genuine conversation. It feels a little different and maybe a little bit separated, like trying to do like a stage talk. I just
Hmm.
feel it's a little the boundary separation between like you up on a stage and the audience like down in chairs. It feels a little disconnected. Um,
Hmm.
I know people want me to like go into that realm, and I had a lot of stuff to say, but it's trying to figure out how to say it and how to authentically connect while like being just one person speaking. Like in the format that I like is like an actual conversation because it's like when people ask me questions, I give like mini talks in like to question, and I just like that. It's more of a conversation. So I'm
Hmm.
trying to figure out how that format could translate to like a stage talk, whether or not I
Yeah.
just have to do like a podcast interview on stage,
Oh
which is
yeah.
different. Um, but I think like talking about my life and the challenges that I've gone through, and not being afraid to let that out and allowing the vulnerable side of everything that I've gone through. It allows people to truly connect with the human element of who you are and what it means to be a human being.
Hmm.
Because yeah, we all put on a strong front, and then we all ultimately want to seem like we have it all together, and we know the direction we're going in life, and we don't want, if something hits us, we don't want to look weak. But I think the true, and I'm guilty of this myself, like there are
Hmm.
times when I'm like, I say all this, and then there are times when I look weak and I don't want to appear weak, and so like
Yeah.
I don't let people in, and I don't let people know I'm sick. So I'm guilty of it as much as anyone.
Hmm.
But we don't want to let people see our weakness, because unfortunately
Right.
culture and society has trained us not to show vulnerability, and it's trained us,
Hmm.
especially as men. And like I talk about this a lot, as a little person man, there's so much pressure that a man has to be this and has to do this and has to look like this and has to say all this, and they have to provide for a woman.
Hmm.
I'm like, I get stressed out and anxious about that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I
I'm getting stressed out thinking
struggle
about it.
I struggle to do like a lot of that, and I ask all these questions like, can I be that to a woman? Can I be that in a relationship? Like,
Hmm.
I mean, there are different things that I can bring to a relationship. The emotional stability, the emotional maturity. Yes, I
Hmm.
can bring all that. I might not always be able to bring the financial provision, and that's something as a man that I feel that I struggle with, and I'm scared that that's something that is going to hold me back from getting into a relationship.
Yeah.
And so just addressing some of these issues and letting people know that they're not alone. Because unfortunately, as human beings, we all have a massive ego and massive pride. We like to think
Hmm.
we're the only ones struggling with it. There's, what, 9 billion people in this world, and we think we're the only one to ever have
Right.
anxiety, ever have depression, ever have health issues, ever have financial issues, all the stuff. Every single human being, whether or not you're, the greatest person on earth or the lowest person on earth, which, again,
Hmm.
I don't think there is those differences, other than Jesus, because he was perfect human
Uh-huh.
being, because he was God himself. Other than
Hmm.
that, we have all gone through it. So I think addressing vulnerability as a strength and not a weakness, and being open about what we're struggling with, which is why I try to demystify mental health, and I try to be as open and as transparent about my own struggles and challenges as I can, so that people
Yeah.
can see, as a small person, I have all of this, but if I can help you just break through that little barrier that will be in your head, then you can achieve anything. And
Uh,
for me, as a man of faith, I believe everything I've gone through and everything I accomplished is not through my own ability.
hmm.
Sometimes I get in my head where I'm like, yeah, I can do this, or I will be able to do it, or I did it on my own. That's pride. Totally
Yeah.
prideful. But when it comes down to it, it's only because of God and my faith that I'm able to do and be in front of the people that I speak with and work with the people that I do. It's not
Hmm.
my abilities, it's His.
I love that. It's so much sincerity in it. And when you can be vulnerable and when you can actually be yourself. 'Cause some people struggle with that thought of, I need to pretend to be like this person over here in order to be accepted, or I need to maybe dress a certain way just to be accepted by that crowd. I've been there before. And
Um,
like you mentioned,
I mean,
like,
I'll tell you the truth. I mean, what you see, it's taken a long time to work up to this. Like, and
mm,
even to be completely honest, maybe only in the last like year have I really stepped into the position. I still struggle with this when I do auditions. I find it hard to be authentically me, like as the character. But have I really stepped into the position of being like, hey, I'm me, I'm the only me that's ever gonna be. I bring what I can bring to the table.
Hmm.
And if I'm not me, then people are missing out on what I have to offer. And
Exactly.
again, going back to being like a person of faith and believing in God, is that I acknowledge that He created me to be the person I'm meant to be, and my identity. And this has really fully come like back to me, like reconnecting with my faith in the last year, has solidified in the fact that I am a child of God, and so He
Hmm.
loves me so much that He
Hmm.
died, like sent His Son to die on the cross. That if He did that, who am I to discount
Hmm.
that He did that for me? So I must be someone of worth and of value to be who I am. So I can't have the
Hmm.
pride and ego to discount what He did for me. That's how much He
Oh,
loves us.
absolutely. Yeah, and also the caveat off of that as well. You look at what you've established, and where you are currently, and I think the same way, the same logic of, man, dang, I really built something here that people can really benefit from on a positive note.
Mm,
And there's something to be said about you, for example, like going on a podcast with somebody who you've never met and then
mm,
having a crazy cool conversation with them like we've known each other for years. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, but I think to your point about it took you some time. Like you were like now within the last year in a place of, okay, I'm starting to accept who I am as a person, and it's so hard. So I used to work in mental health within the military. I spent about
Mm,
9.5 years in the mental health field, and one of the biggest things that people struggle with was their identity, because
mm,
most of them, they were submerged in a thought because they're in uniform. They're most people think soldiers or airmen or Marines, Navy SEALs, however they want to phrase it. People in uniform get stuck in that idea that they are that person. For you as an actor, right? You spend so much time playing other characters that how hard is it to separate you from the character? It's
mm.
you spend months and months and months with this character as this character in their story, and then you go and do another project. How has that been for you in your own
Mm.
experience with separating you as a person with your characters and not allowing the two to to intertwine?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like as an actor, going back to like being authentically you, it's when you find characters that you resonate with. It tends to
Mhm.
be that you bring an element of truth to a role. Um, I mean, at the time, I didn't think much of it. Like when I was reading the role with Tom Thumb, Charles Stratton, and then playing it on set.
Mhm.
It was only when I actually stepped into the role on set and like started to play out the emotions and the character
Mhm.
that I started to really resonate and figure out, oh, this isn't just a character.
Mhm.
I'm actually Sam Humphrey is actually stepping into it a bit.
Mhm.
I bring my emotions. I bring some of my history to it, like at my height and the experiences I've gone through, where I've been an outcast, where I've been treated with disrespect, where I've been treated like I am nothing, where people have laughed at me, where people do insult me, like characters aren't always like a complete separation from who we are as people. Otherwise, I don't think any of us would really be able to step into these characters. The best
Mhm.
actors are bringing such an huge element of truth of parts of their lives can intertwine into these characters. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, it's a little different when you're maybe playing a character that's maybe completely opposite to who you are, but
Mhm.
even then, you still find like elements of that character in your own life. You
Mhm.
find like sometimes you find the tiniest little connection that you can like pull a thread from, and then you
Mhm.
can develop into a backstory that connects from your life. Like you may play a supervillain, which I never have, but I would love to. You
Yeah.
pull the thread out, and you can go, okay, what elements of your own story that have happened in your life that might connect to developing how this character became a supervillain. Maybe he wasn't always a supervillain. Maybe events transpired in his life that led him down a pathway to where he became bitter and angry at the world, and like he felt like he was of no value, and then he started wanting to exact his own, bitterness on the world, and then, he became numb to the world. And like, I've never been evil. I've never done all that, but I can relate to
Hmm.
being bitter. I can relate to, thinking that the world's against me. I
Yeah.
can relate
Hmm.
to feeling like I have no value and all of that stuff. So you pull that, you pull a thread, and then you keep pulling until you can translate that into the character.
That is just like the artistry in telling a story, even as a writer. There's a lot of
Mm,
truth in fiction. And I think some people think that, like when you look at a story, for example, and you look at who's the protagonist or who's the antagonist, right? And we look at, okay, like in the mind of the antagonist, are they really the antagonist? Like
mm,
maybe they have their morals and their values all wrapped into an idea of world peace and what they perceive to be world peace. It
yeah.
just doesn't necessarily align with the hero of the story, so therefore you're the villain. But it's like
Mm,
that we had talked about, Christian Bale earlier in one of the movies, The Dark Knight, specifically The Dark Knight. I forgot what the quote was, like something about like live long enough to become the villain or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm definitely misquoting it, but to that point is that Batman represents somebody who protects Gotham, but in the way that he protects it, is he really a good guy or is he not? Some of his
Mm.
methods might be borderline, like, ooh, you're kind of tipping the scale there on being a hero, buddy. But not to kind of derail it or anything, because I can get nerdy all day. But
No, no, of
I'm just
course.
kind of going off of your yeah,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think it's awesome, when you pull elements of a character that you can relate to, even if they're a despicable character, but you're
Mm,
playing that character. Like, how can you bring your truth to a character that you really morally do not like?
yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's to that point there.
Mm.
No, for sure. So I'll ask you just like, I'll ask you one more question. And I don't want to hold you up too long.
No, I mean,
Last bit.
as many questions you got, man. I could talk all day. I mean, I love
Okay.
all these topics, and mental health is like huge passion of mine and all that. So,
No, for sure. Thank you so much. Okay, so for somebody, right, people who are kind of just getting their foot in the door, just getting started, whether they want to be an actor or they want to be a writer or creator, anything in that regards, what's your
mm,
advice to them on just taking a chance and seeing where it takes them?
yeah. I mean, the advice would be, and this is advice to myself, because I'm still learning to do it, even though I look successful. And I've done things, but I'm still like learning to jump off the bridge and see what happens. But that's literally it. Not a great metaphor for everything, but take the leap and the net will appear beneath you. Because I think sometimes, and this goes to me, sometimes when we're trying to think of every which way to do it, we stop ourselves from actually taking the leap. If you want
Hmm.
to act, do it. Find local projects. Find student films. Find anyone who's trying to make a project and be an actor. If you want to write, just start writing. It may not be great at first. I suck at writing. I can't write. I write. I always get this a little confused, but I believe it's nonfiction. I'm writing my own autobiography. I dabble in
Good.
writing bits and pieces here and there. And if you want to direct, start directing. Make your own little films with your iPhone. The great thing is the
Hmm.
technology is so advanced that you can use your iPhone to make films. If you want to produce, pull a bunch of people together and just start creating your own projects. That's what I'm doing. I'm creating a few feature films right now. I don't know, honestly, I don't know if they'll go anywhere, but you just gotta put yourself out there and do it,
Hmm.
because unfortunately everyone is looking out for themselves. Mostly, if you don't care about doing things that you want to do, ultimately no one else is gonna be the biggest advocate for your own stuff.
Right.
You can get people that can help you along the way, absolutely, but they're never going to be as invested as you are yourself. You are your
Mm-hmm.
own, you're, you're your own best advocate, and you're
Yep.
your own worst enemy. Um,
Ooh, yeah.
so, I don't know, you just got to do it. And I
Just
think there's so much that you can do these days. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, no one would have thought that being an influencer would be a job. No one would
mm-hmm.
have thought, watching shows and talking about them would have been a job. You can create your own job nowadays. You can
Mm-hmm.
get someone to pay you to, do what you do. It's
Mm-hmm.
a job. So yeah, I'm trying to set up my platform and my brand. I'm trying to write my autobiography. I'm trying to produce a film. I want to make a podcast. I've got a ton of things that I'm trying to do. It's
Mm-hmm.
just which one. Sometimes it's which ones track the most. Like
Right.
you can put your energy in a few different things, but sometimes you got to learn where your energy is best spent, and that's something I'm still learning to do because I have so many different, balls that I'm juggling. I just have a lot that I'm passionate about doing and want to do.
Yeah.
So,
I know exactly that feeling. And in fact, I'm now at a point where I feel like, okay, let me hone in on this show because it
mm,
seems like there are people jumping on board that is willing to support the message of inspiring and educating young writers and young creators. And that's ultimately what this premise is. Getting people on who are inspirational just by virtue of their body of work. Getting them
mm,
to come on and just talk and have conversations. Like I know a lot of podcasts or a lot of interviews are set up in a way where it's just like, here are the questions. Let me ask you these questions. But I like
yeah,
to have conversations, man. I literally just, hey, I do my research on who's coming on, and I pull and plug. If they want questions specifically, I'll generate them most of the time. Otherwise, let's just talk. I know I'm really skilled in the sense of being able to talk to people just because of my mental health background for almost 10
mm.
years. And so I feel really comfortable to be able to just have conversations without it like being derailed or anything like that. But I really
Conversations
appreciate you.
are the best.
Yes,
Conversations are the most like organic. It's like you're just meeting up with a friend at a coffee shop and you're just talking. It's, I mean,
exactly.
I
It's
think
it's
those are the best interviews.
yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I hope your experience with this one has been fun, has been
Oh
enjoyable. I've
yeah,
been having a great
absolutely.
time.
Whenever it
Yeah,
gets into like deep talk, like I mean, small talk is okay when you're trying to get to know someone, but then it's like I've said this a few times, and people who love small talk, more power to you. But when I do
yeah,
small talk, it feels like my soul is dying just a little bit
yeah.
because
Uh-huh.
I mean, I just want to talk about the things that matter, that
Mhm.
existential. I think I said that word
Yes.
wrong, but
No,
they're
you got
like
existential. Yeah, yeah.
get to the heart of the matter that truly reveal the experience of the human condition. I mean, ultimately, that's what we're here on this earth for, to tell stories, to have conversations that inspire, that help someone else, live a better life. And that's one
Absolutely.
of my favorite mottos, so to speak, is that if everything I've gone through, everything I ever do, just changes one person's life, that's awesome to me, let alone impacting hundreds, thousands, millions. Just one. That's all it
Job
takes,
is
is one.
done. Oh, I'm with you. I'm with you. Well, it looks like I gotta cut it short now. I gotta head to an appointment to go see if I got ADHD. I went and
Well,
did a
if
test
you do,
last.
it's a different ability.
There's a different ability. Absolutely. Hey, on that note, I love being just so candid and just so honest.
Mm,
Hey, this was awesome. This was awesome, Sam. Thank you so much for coming on the
thank
show.
you. All right, take care.
Thank you. All right, thank you all very much. You all have a great rest of your day. Thank you for coming on the show. We'll catch you next time.